For those of you listening, guys, I knew Steve in college, and his nickname was Mr. Mayor, which I think you even had in high school a little bit. I don't know how to explain it, guys. Like, so we went to Duke University in Durham, North Carolina, and it's 6,000 undergrad, is like 10,000 with grad school kids. So it's relatively big. But everybody knew Glanis. And it was because of these he was always doing a different venture. And the big one was throwing parties in college. It was Spartan Entertainment. And he was known for Wednesday night, Shooters Night, which Shooters is a famous bar at Duke. It's like a Western themed bar and it's a piece of crap. But Wednesdays, nothing was going on. And Steven was like, well, look, if I can get people to show up on Wednesday and they pay $5 at the door, can I get a cut? That sort of thing. And I'm pretty sure that's how it started. So talk to me about your entrepreneurial journey, because to me, I always like to consider myself a natural builder, but nowhere near, it seems like it was in your DNA, probably even younger than college, I imagine. So tell us about you and your background a bit.
Yeah. It's funny thinking back to the Spartan Entertainment days, but in many ways, when people ask me what I majored in at Duke, like I say entrepreneurship. We didn't have a major for business or entrepreneurship there, but that's what I did. That's what I spend my time doing. And for those that didn't go to Duke between 2006 and 2010, this was a really interesting age where Facebook was brand new. Zach and I were the first grade of college students that actually had Facebook throughout the entirety of our college experience. And back then, you had to have the .edu address to even get onto the network. So I remember, when I was a senior in high school, people would like apply early to a safety school and put the deposit down just to get the .edu address so they could join the Facebook at the time.
It was that pretentious and exclusive. It was a big freaking deal.
And one of the things that we noticed that was really different for people like Zach and I versus any other generation that had ever gone to college was that we had this thing, Facebook, and we were connected with every single person that we met. And in many ways, like, we're still connected, right? Like, all those people you friended from your freshman year dorm on Facebook, they've been following everything that you've been doing with your charity, with the Yang campaign. So in many ways, like, we had this built-in distribution network, and we kind of came along at the right time. Back then, bar owners were not able to be on Facebook. So back in the day when, you created a Facebook group and people joined and you created an event and people showed up, me and a guy named Zach Maritas, who's another entrepreneur who was a senior when I was a freshman and is now the CEO of a very successful tech startup back in Durham called Teamworks. Zach and I had the idea to start throwing non-affiliated parties because, well, Zach and I were friends. We were in different fraternities. So if Sigma Nu was throwing a party, the Delta Sigs wouldn't show up. If the ATOs were throwing a party, the SAEs wouldn't come. But Zach and I decided to create our own branded parties that were unaffiliated, and slowly but surely everybody started coming. So it didn't matter what fraternity you were in. It didn't matter if you were in a fraternity. It didn't matter if you were in band or a football player. Like, you came to our parties. And over a 4-year period, we took, starting with one event, which was putting beer pong tables out on Wednesday night at like the big bar on campus that used to be closed, and offering $3 pitchers and taking the cover charge. We ended up having over 17,000 college students in this Facebook group and started a variety of businesses off this key asset. So we had a college boxes business for a couple of years. We had a hot dog stand at one point. We did DJ equipment and t-shirt rentals and venue bookings, like, you name it, Zach and I were doing it. And I think it really gave us our first taste of entrepreneurship. And for Zach, that capital from Spartan Entertainment was a lot of the seed money that started his business, and he's continued to do that today. And like I said, it's a very successful business. And for me, this, taste of entrepreneurship was something that I could never fully get out of my mouth. And when I ended up leaving Durham and going to be a trader for a few years and working at LinkedIn, like, I did other cool things, but that entrepreneurial bug kept kept nagging at me. And I really believe that like the 3% of people on Earth who have that mutation in their brain that makes them like a true entrepreneur, it's almost impossible for those people to do great, like the best work of their lives if they're working for someone else. And I would put myself in that case. And for me, Cameo has been something that's really at that ikigai point for me. Ikigai is this Japanese philosophy that believes that your true life's calling is the intersection of what do you love to do, what are you great at, what does the world need, and what can you ultimately get paid for? And it has to be at that like pure intersection point. And Zach, I'll ask you, you've known me for a long time. Like, is the fact that I started this business surprising to you?
Oh, dude, not at all. You've got these smartest minds in the world in many ways at Duke University, and they're all like slaving away at their econ exams and their chemistry exams, this thing, and you're out there throwing parties, which seems like a joke. But on the other hand, you're learning 10 times more, because you're negotiating deals and you're going to contracts and booking venues and recruiting people and developing a marketing plan and raising capital and like investing in new businesses. I knew like Spartan Entertainment was like the tip of the iceberg for you, but I was more surprised when you went, I think you were a trader and you worked at LinkedIn. I was like, I knew that wasn't the end game either. But I remember getting an email from you. It was a SurveyMonkey survey like, hey, we've got this idea where famous people can get paid to FaceTime their fans. What do you think of these names? And it was like this long survey of a bunch of names. Cameo was one of them, if I recall, but there were a bunch of others. Nothing personal. Cameo wasn't my top vote. I don't remember what it was. I should probably look that up. But
it's funny. So we were just talking about this survey, and Cameo wasn't on the original list. Actually, there were 4. There were 4, and I will tell, this is exclusive. Nobody else has ever heard this story, so I hope your listeners enjoy. We hired a branding firm in Miami called Vanilla Shake, who's incredibly talented, and we went through the exhaustive process of like naming. And in a consumer internet business, like a name is so critical. And when we first started the business, we didn't know what the name was. So we were using, so there are 2 things that happened. Number one, my co-founder, Martin, his family businesses in the UK are all Baron, like Baron Homes and Baron Finance and things like that. So he wanted to call the business Baron App. And actually today, that is the legal name of the company. The legal name of the company is Baron App Inc.
Please tell me when you guys go public, the New York City Stock Exchange listing is going to have Baron App LLC.
And it's funny because we had actually never, nobody's ever like called us Baron App before, but in the Wall Street Journal, like funding announcement, they always use the legal name of the business. So it was talking about Baron App Inc. valued at $1 billion, the parent company of Cameo. Yeah. So it was just kind of interesting. But we knew Baron App could not be like what we called this business. At the time, we decided to use a code name and we called it Power Move. So it was called Project Power Move was basically what we called it. And the branding firm that we hired came up with 3 names. First was Hero Hub. So almost like it was like a hub to find your heroes. The second name was Thrillo. And the third name was Hyped, HYPD. You
can tell a bunch of dudes are making this company.
And we put this name out, these 4 names out to all of our followers on LinkedIn. We collectively downloaded all of our LinkedIn contacts and put this SurveyMonkey out. And unfortunately, Power Move won. So we knew we didn't have a great name. And some of the feedback, the branding firm personally had recommended Hero Hub. And for our East Coasters, everyone felt that sounded like a sandwich shop, which was, kind of funny. So ultimately, we, went back to the drawing board, and my little brother, who was working for us at the time, was like, I think it should be called Cameo. He's like, these people are kind of making a cameo in your life. And
Wow.
immediately it was like,
Thank
yes,
you, little bro.
that has to be the name. Of course, Cameo.com was not available and seemed to be impossible to get. All the social handles weren't available. So what we decided to do is we bought bookcameo.com.
Yeah, you throw a verb in front of it. Yeah.
And made all of the socials book Cameo for a while. But for the first couple years of the business, people just thought it was called Book Cameo. So that's a little, fun story about how Cameo got its name.